everyone, and welcome back to Radical Love with Ains and Lex.
I'm Ains.
And I'm Lex. And today we are going to do a little Lenten reflection. And y'all can also do it. So we're going to be answering these questions based on our personal experiences, but it'll be a great way. Like when we throw out the question, you think about it, reflect, do it with us.
Definitely a little small group action.
Ooh.
Minus me, can't interact with the group, but it'll still be good.
Yeah, I like it. But we always start with rosebud thorn. So Ains.
Yeah, I can start. So my rose half marathon last weekend, it was honestly actually really fun. So it was a good time.
Yay.
There were a lot of people cheering on the course. So it was 2 laps around campus, but that's not 6.5 miles. So it was like a very odd path. Like you went in and around and through all these random places and ran around the quads. Definitely for them trying to make it longer. But it was really fun. All the people cheering us on. And it was honestly a really good time. It was really nice seeing my mom and my dad and David. It was really nice. Yeah, and it was just cool. It was snowing, so that was pretty crazy. But it was even beautiful with the snow, and then it got a little warmer. It was just a really nice time, and I feel accomplished. And that's great.
Yeah, you should. Did you eat a big meal after? Not a memorable one, clearly.
I don't think so. My dad didn't run, so he got donuts for us during it. So then we went back to the Airbnb house. There were donuts. So I definitely had a long john, a white. In case anyone was wondering, my go-to donut is a white long john, no filling. Absolutely no filling.
I did not know that.
Yeah, it's my go-to. But I do also love an apple fritter, and glazed. But I don't really like anything other than that. I like to keep my flavors pretty tame. I can't really remember if I had anything else. I did have a bagel before, guys. Okay, so if you know, I have a lot of problems where I always have to poop during runs, and I have a lot of horror stories. So you can fill in the blanks there. But I went to the bathroom before the race on Saturday, so I didn't have to go at all during, which was
yay.
I couldn't sleep the night before because I was stressed I was gonna poop my pants during the race. But then I didn't.
Good job.
So yay, the bare minimum, almost 20-year-old woman that didn't poop her pants. So proud. But yeah, that was a blast. I would say my thorn the next day, we had P-Dub soccer. And I really wanted us to win, but we lost. They scored in the last minute, which was sad. And we had 2 girls that got injured during the game, and we didn't have any subs. It's even the refs afterwards were like, oh, P-Dub definitely should have won, but they didn't have the numbers because we were just dead tired because they had subs and we had 9 people on the field. So it just totally gets you. And 6 of us had run the half marathon.
Oh gosh.
So we could not sprint. We could jog or run, but it was totally not our peak performance. So I was sad. And then yesterday I had bookstore basketball. We lost that too. And I'm like, what the heck's with all this losing? And I totally ate it. A girl set a pick and I was running and I didn't see her and I tripped over her foot and fell yesterday. And if you're watching, you can see my hands are all bandaged up. I have scrapes all on my left arm and my left leg. And I have a minor sprain in my wrist.
I think you need to put the pictures on Rad Love. Give everyone a warning.
I'll have to give a graphic warning. Yes, seriously. So my hands, they just look gross. But it's fine. It's just sad. You lose. I totally ate it. Absolutely. And I haven't fallen on asphalt and scraped myself like that. You forget that stings. These kids, I know why kids cry so much. That is painful. And then my bud is Easter. I have so much work to do these next few days. Fortunately, it's going to be a lot the next few days. And that's if I don't do anything over the weekend, which I'm hoping I won't do much because it's Easter. So I shouldn't because I should celebrate. Anyways, though, lots and lots and lots to do, which I'm nervous. But what's exciting is that I'm going to Orlando to visit my grandparents for Easter. So my sister, my parents, and I will be going. And Ian was supposed to go, but last week he got COVID.
He's missing out on so much. Half
I
marathon,
know,
then
2 weekends in a row.
this.
And technically he like could have maybe gone this weekend, I don't even know what the CDC guidelines are anymore, but my grandparents are like very old. They're not a nice like 70, they're like 90. So
Careful,
accidentally
yeah.
giving them COVID is like definitely not what anyone wants. So Ian will not be coming, which is sad, but he'll probably see them over the summer. So hopefully won't have to wait too long. But yeah, I'm really excited for that. I'm really, really, really excited. And I'm gonna try not to do any homework Saturday or Sunday. I might need to do some things like Friday, even though that's when I'm like my travel day. But yeah, I'm gonna try to take 2 days off before the craziness. Cause yeah, Lex, you're getting into final season 2. And it's just like, crazy.
Yeah. That's insane. That's gonna be so exciting. Okay, my rose. Something I've not really talked about on here, just kind of keeping it very personal, didn't know where things were gonna go. But now I can say it. Hey. Evan and I got back together yesterday. We've been talking for a while. Obviously, I went out to Virginia to see him. But now it's like official. It's crazy.
Love the official.
Yeah, I'm very, very, very happy. Feel very grateful. He also, I was kind of shaking in my boots because we had a great time in Virginia, and then like he didn't make it official, and I was like, oh no. But he was today is the 13th. Our anniversary is the 12th, so he was waiting to do it on our anniversary. Very sweet, very sappy. I'm here for it. And then I don't know. I've just been counting my blessings recently. A lot of good things are happening with work and friends. Yeah, it's so good. Had another meeting with my boss, and she's just like so excited for me to start working this summer.
Yay!
And it's just like that makes me so happy. And that she like wants to keep me included and stuff. And then my thorn is that this week has been crazy with school and tests. I had 2 on Monday, which one was brutal. Brutal. And he still hasn't given us our grade back, and it was on Canvas. It was like a multiple choice on Canvas, like no room for,
what?
Yeah, no room for partial credit, nothing. But yeah, still hasn't released a grade. And then yeah, it'll be fine. I chose to go to Georgia Tech, so gotta suck it up. And then my bud is that tomorrow morning, my mom and dad and I leave to go to Pennsylvania to see AJ play tennis. We won't be with him on Easter, because we leave Saturday night, and so does AJ. But then on Easter, we're doing something with my grandparents and my cousin, so everyone will be together.
Fun. That's a blast.
Yeah, it's gonna, like you said, it's gonna be a fun weekend, and I'm gonna try not to do work. But if I don't do work, it's gonna be a struggle.
That's what it's about though. I always like feel like during the week I'm like dying, but I refuse to like spend weekends like totally consumed in work. I'm like, no, this is not how I'm gonna live my life. Like how I used to. I'm over that. Like I'll work when I need to. It'll get done. I might not sleep, or like I might not do this or that, but I'll do it during the week so I can enjoy my weekend. And that's my strong philosophy. I really think we should take this weekend off and totally celebrate. I mean, come on, people. You're supposed to rest on the Sabbath anyway. So we're already breaking the rules like 50 weekends out of the year.
Aren't there only 52?
This weekend. Yeah, there's 52. I was saying, Christmas, maybe we lay off.
Yeah.
I don't know. I definitely should have just said like 51, because then if you start factoring in other numbers, like you work in the summer, like you're probably not doing homework in the summer. So it was a very fallible number choice there with the 50, but you guys know what I'm saying, okay? Rest on Easter Sunday.
Rest
and every
on
Sunday.
Easter. I agree. I'm so guilty of not. Last Sunday, well, the whole weekend I was spent studying. So not happy with myself. But then on Sunday, Caroline and I went to the Caldies at Emory, which is like the real location. Really feels like home. So like it didn't even feel like studying. Like it was like that. That's
fun.
like the time that I consider it's like okay, because I wasn't like dreading it. I was excited.
Mhm.
So yeah.
I mean, there's definitely things that have to get done. But so like I do things on the weekends, but the bare minimum.
Right. Oh no. I know. Yeah, because architecture I consumed myself. So I understand. I understand. Okay, Ains, are you ready for our first
Yes,
question?
absolutely.
We're doing this. It's not, Lent isn't quite over, but it's good reflection.
It's about to be. I guess it ends like
Tomorrow.
the Triduum's not considered Lent, right?
Mm-mm,
Yeah, it's separate season. So
oh,
as
you
of
can have
like
ice cream on Friday.
no, I'm gonna wait till Sunday. It's gonna be a real Easter
Good job.
celebration.
Good job.
Yeah.
Okay, how did you live out your own light? I'm butchering the question. How did you live out your Lenten practices of prayer, fasting, and almsgiving this Lent season?
Yes. So I think with prayer, fasting, and almsgiving. So obviously the big things I was doing for Lent were related to fasting in a way. So fasting from, but not necessarily like the scheduled Friday fasts. Also Fridays didn't feel very special to me because I wasn't eating meat at all. So then like
Yeah.
it's the same old, same old. But I would say the fasting was definitely very big because those were my big Lenten promises. Prayer, I'm going to reconciliation tomorrow. If anyone else, this is your, I guess it'll be Saturday, so maybe a little late. But just a reminder, if you want to go, you're supposed to go during Lent,
Yeah.
to prepare yourself for Easter, which, as we all know, I am a big fan of the old penance. So I'll be popping out tomorrow evening. But yeah, I have tried to make that more of a priority. Like, I think it started in the beginning of Lent. Like, I know this doesn't sound like a lot, but I've gone to mass every Sunday and I've done like other faith activities as well, just like trying to focus more on my faith and not shy away from anything. I also had a big essay this past week. It was Augustine's Confessions. But we had to write our own, and so that was like difficult because it had to be like a pretty kind of personal, like totally tied into scripture. Like it was 6 pages, and I think I cited scripture like 20 something times, like totally different random passages, which actually doesn't sound like a lot, but in practice it was very difficult for me because I was having to like flip through this book, trying to find things. But just in general, like I'm really lucky that my school work, like that project took me a while. It was really difficult for me, but it was also a lot of reflection time, and like I prayed a lot about it. So that was honestly really great. How the school work kind of did some of that work for me.
Yeah.
And then almsgiving. Well, this is more forward thinking what I've been doing about almsgiving, but I'm really trying to like shift my life to where, I mean, these 3 pillars are obviously like the 3 big parts of Lent, but I'm really trying to like shift it so that they're a part of every day, which I guess that's the point. But especially with almsgiving, just trying to find what I'm going to be doing during July and August. So I've just been like reaching out to different organizations in St. Louis, seeing if they like have volunteers, because COVID changed a lot of those things, or like what positions I could hold and stuff. So really just trying to, even though I'm not doing anything right now, I've been doing like research and a lot of emailing.
That's so good. Yeah.
So it feels like I've been doing work, I guess, even though it hasn't been that much. But yeah, definitely trying to serve more, and just like make that my whole life. So these kind of sound like more forward thinking, which isn't the point, I guess, of Lent. Like I should have done more during Lent, but that was an honest eval. I've definitely done like more prayer, obviously more fasting, and then almsgiving, not as much, but I've had a huge like change of heart in relation to it. So I don't want to skip over that, even if I haven't done that much, literally.
Yeah. No, that's good. Thank you for being honest. Mine also has been, in some ways it's been so great. In other ways, I feel like I totally missed the mark. I'll start with where I feel like I totally missed the mark. So, you can only go up from there. Just because I'm navigating, this season of my faith, this has been the least structured Lent that I've ever had. And, now reflecting on it, like I can really see that. And I've noticed it over the last few weeks, just not having, even like with, in regards to not wanting to fast food this year. So like I've still been eating meat on Fridays just because I know that I need to eat meat on Fridays. And like, that's something that like I know for my own health is important. And so that was like another one of those things where like the Catholic Lent has kind of just been so much different for me. And so that's weird. Like not having that structure has definitely been weird. But some of the really good things that have happened, my parents came up a few weeks ago when we went to mass, and getting back in the Catholic Church during the Lenten season was really special. And the priest at the Catholic Center here is so good. Like I love him so much. And he like mixes a lot of the different churches that I've been to, I feel like, into mass, just because everything he does, it's from a point of like throughout the whole mass. I don't know if I said it when I said previously that we went to mass together. But he did a lot of like teaching during the mass on, it was a baptism that day. And he was saying, we do this because the Bible says this. And yes, it is Lent, but this is what the church does when there's a baptism during Lent. And then his homily was very focused on, looking at the true story that was presented in the gospel versus just giving a homily based on like one buzzword topic. And then even at the baptism, he like lit the baptismal candle, or I don't know if there's like a special thing for that. And then he was like, everyone, this is going to make sense as to why we do this on the Easter Vigil. And it was just so cool how he was like relating all these things. So that was really good. And then honestly, like the Bible study that I've been doing has been one of the most fruitful things that I've ever done in my faith. It has been so good. I feel like I've learned so much, getting to see like the connections between New Testament, Old Testament, and also just because
so many.
There are so
like
many,
100.
right? Like I will never remember all of them. Like I think I could go through this 10 more times and like learn something new every time.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Definitely. But that's been something for me where like at the beginning of Lent, I said, I'm going to do the Bible study. That is going to be like my Lenten thing. And I'm going to focus on growing versus like fasting from something. So I guess like in a way, like I'm taking the time that I would be doing something else to, be focused on this. And it's like 5 days a week of the study. And then like the weekends are for reflection. So it like gives you a little bit of that. It's been so good. And y'all, this is like insane. It is a 40-day through the Bible, but like it lasts like past Lent. I don't think you have to necessarily do it during Lent, but this week's line up perfectly. Like yesterday was all about the crucifixion. And then like on Palm Sunday, it was about Palm Sunday. And I was like, this is crazy. This is crazy.
Works out perfectly.
It really does. So there's been highs and there's been lows, but yes. Okay. Ains, what have you learned about yourself, your faith, and God through your own Lenten practices?
Yeah. So definitely this year I did something that was difficult for me. I would say surprisingly enough, not eating meat was more difficult and like worse than not eating ice cream, because not eating ice cream, it would just like come up like like once a day at most. Like most days, once I got into the routine of not eating ice cream, it was like not a problem. But meat was really inconvenient. Just because I like really had to switch. I'm a very big like once I order something once, that's what I get all the time.
Yeah.
And I didn't think I ate that much meat, but it really is like difficult not to for me.
Mm-hmm.
And I thought I would be like totally converted to vegetarianism, I guess, because I've always like really wanted to do that with my diet. But like right now, I've realized I just have no desire. But yeah, it's definitely what I've like learned is that it was very like difficult for me and it was a lot more challenging than I thought. And I low key like did not enjoy it. And I don't know if it connected as much to my faith as I like wish it
Mm-hmm.
had, because for me it was like very much a routine thing. Like in the beginning, I was thinking I'm not eating meat for these reasons, but then probably within 2 weeks, I was just, oh, I'm not eating meat. I'm not eating meat. And I wouldn't think of the reason. Like I no longer needed a justification. I would just do it because that's what I was doing for Lent.
Mm-hmm.
And I really definitely fell back into that old habit because it is kind of difficult. I mean, 40 days is not a long time, but it is difficult to remain aware of what you're doing it and to stay intentional. So this is kind of wrapping up a lot of my answers to the later questions as well. But I realized like for future years, I definitely want to do something more like what you did, Lex, where it's like
Mm.
blatantly faith related, because it is so easy, I think, just by the sheer nature of doing something that's not like directly connected to going to mass or spending more time praying each day. Like it's definitely more difficult to remember why you're doing it. And
Mm-hmm.
that's what we talked about in the first episode. And look at
Yeah.
me, guys, totally like, I mean, didn't totally fail, but I would say like I didn't do that well on that. Definitely disappointed, and I'm realizing it. We should have done this in the middle of Lent so I could have turned it around, but now it's like over. Um, but yeah, I think that's just what I've realized, and I've kind of always known this about myself. Like, unless with faith, it's like something that's like hitting me over the head with how obvious it is.
Mm-hmm.
Or like, for example, I knew going to a Catholic school would be really important for me because that's how I knew I would need to like stay involved in my faith. Is if it was just like I had to avoid going to mass because they email
Mm-hmm.
you like mass is in 20 minutes in the chapel.
Oh.
And so I'm like, you have to read those emails and not go. So
Mm-hmm.
I go more. Whereas if I had like nothing super obvious, I wouldn't do it. Um, but yeah, I've also, though, I've had like a really transformative Lent in terms of like vocation and discernment.
Mm.
And I think this Lent has been huge on me realizing the way God works in our lives. So I've definitely had a lot of growth. So I guess I don't want to really discredit myself. I feel like a lot of the growth though has like happened to me and not something like I've done like through effort and focus. It's more just like transformative experiences. Um, so yeah, I've definitely had some changes of heart, but I think, like I said, I didn't do enough for this Lent.
Yeah, I mean, I feel that. I feel that. But even like when I did my coffee fast, I definitely after, depending on how long it was, like a few days or a few weeks, also fell into that. Like it just became, oh, I'm not doing this versus
Mm-hmm.
like I quickly got out of the why am I not doing this?
Mm-hmm.
Um, okay, with mine, I feel like a lot of similar things to you, like it's easy to get out of, you know, knowing why we're doing it. But because my study was every day, like I really had to learn how important it is to be disciplined because I could so easily like there were so many times where I was like, I just want to go to bed. Like, I don't have 15 minutes right now to actually like sit up and be focused and be present while I'm doing this. And so I just had to, remember that. And every time that I was like, I just want to go to bed, I was like, well, Lexi, you got up early to spend 45 minutes to work out. So, you better do it. And, honestly, I did have to remind myself that. So many times. But then I would learn something so good and I was like, this is amazing. But I don't know, like you said, I've also just really seen the beauty of God in so many things. And, maybe it is because of Lent, maybe it's not, who knows? But I don't know, I'm just like even thinking back to this morning, like my mom had a phone call and, we were talking about all these things and, she just kept saying like, wow, isn't that amazing? Or like, that was a God moment. That was a God moment. And like, I could have like sworn she said about 5 things and now I can only like remember 2 of them. And I'm so upset at myself for like not writing them down. Because that's been something that I've realized recently has been really important to me. Like when I pray and when I do my Bible study, like writing down my prayers. I started it probably a little before Lent, and then have continued it. And that's been so cool just to relate back like the specific instances of the things I prayed for, like seeing them come to life is really important. And I think it like reinforces faith because maybe it's just like a little thing. But seeing how God's at work in everything it's really good. And seeing the good. I've had my moments and it hasn't been pretty all the time. But
yeah. I mean, y'all know better than anyone that I'm like not the first, but I'm like quick to discredit when someone were like, if someone were to say like, that's a God moment, I would be like, well, actually, like this happened and I made this decision so that this
yeah.
obvious consequence came as a result of it. So like, is it a God moment or is it just like all these things happening the way they happened, cause and effect?
Yeah.
And like, that's something that has like really changed within my heart this past Lenten season, because I feel like it's kind of a choice you have to make. Because it is, I mean, it is just cause and effect. But like that's very gray and dull. And it's like, do I want to view my life in that way? Or do I want to like make the choice to be like, yeah, that's a God moment. Like, yes, I made this decision. Yes, this is the consequence. But like, I think God was involved, like somewhere in the process, like God, like put like that feeling in my heart or planted that seed in my mind. And it could totally not be the case. Or it totally could.
Exactly.
And like that's the thing, is there's no way, at least from my experience, to totally prove or disprove God working. And so it's like there's that big maybe, and like which side of that spectrum do you want to fall on?
Oh yeah. And it's easy to go one way or the other. Yeah. Something I gotta always think about. Okay. Can you
Let me ask it.
Let me ask it
so that we can switch it up.
Okay.
Can you recall a life-giving Lenten experience and what made it special?
Mine. I'm gonna say it again. I could say it for every single question. Literally, the Bible study. I mean, hands down, without a doubt. It's been really important, not only for like my aunt and I's relationship to grow because she continues to like impose wisdom on me. But just going through the major stories and, y'all know, like I've been praying about it for so long, like answers to certain questions on faith. And so being able to see like Jesus's life and, I mean, he is the perfect role model. So being able to see like his word, what he says in scripture and everything has been really important. And I love the connections of like how he fulfills what like Moses prophesied and, Adam and everything. It is insane. And even with that, there's been one verse, actually it's 2 verses. Oh, my phone's on sleep mode, but it's on my lock screen, which is why I'm pulling it up. But I have it so that every time I open my phone, I can see it. It is a verse from Joshua, and I've never really read Joshua before anything, but I love it. It's Joshua 1 verses 5 and 9. I don't know why I skipped over the others, but these 2 really, hit me. They say, no man shall be able to stand before you all the days of your life, just as I was with Moses, so I will be with you. I will not leave you or forsake you. Have I not commanded you? Be strong and courageous. Do not be frightened and do not be dismayed, for the Lord your God is with you wherever you go. And that has just been very comforting for me, like in my struggles with faith. And also just like, I'm a very nervous person. So just like being courageous and brave is amazing. So that's like one of the those are the two main Bible verses that I'm taking out of this Bible study.
Those are good. Those are good. And
Yeah.
it's like you have it's gonna sound so stupid.
What?
But there's like some basic Bible verses
Oh,
like
they're
everyone knows
yeah.
that are like I can do all things through Christ who strengthens me. Like
Yeah.
everyone knows this, but that one's like more special. You know, it's more
It is,
it's
you know,
yours.
it's
Obviously the other
mine.
ones are very valuable and like there's a reason everyone knows them and stuff. But
Mhm.
like that one actually has like a similar meaning, but is something that really hit you strong when like in the moment and wasn't just like something you've always heard. It like meant I feel like it means more. Maybe not. I don't know. Maybe.
It does. No, it means a lot. It does. Because before I'd like, pick a basic one, but it wouldn't like, then it would a month later I'd hear another one. But like this one like really sticks. I'm here for it.
Awesome.
What about you?
Yeah. So this one, I've realized recently, like in my struggles of faith, and when I'm like, I don't even know like what I believe, or for me, it's hard. I don't know if I've used this analogy because once again, it's kind of silly. But I'll be like, it's nerf or nothing. Like for me with Catholicism, like I'm either like when I think about my faith, I know I don't really know why, but I'm like, I'm either going to be Catholic or I'm not really going to be practicing very much at all because I really have realized, especially with the Eucharist, I don't really know why this has been so impactful for me recently, but I'm like, how could I go to church and not receive the Eucharist? Like, no, I have to. Like, I just need to. Or just like random other things. The Eucharist has been a big change though, like saints and all that stuff. I already told you guys about that. So that's old news. But the Eucharist has really been striking me recently. I'm like, wow, that's like, it's the difference between literally consuming God and having God physically or not. Like that's a big difference. Well, that's kind of even if you don't believe in like transubstantiation, like that's a big difference. So, anyways, I didn't used to think it was a big deal. It's been hitting me a bit more. But something I've really realized is when I'm thinking about this, like what do I want my faith to be? Thinking about my future gives me so much clarity because I know for a fact I like want my children, if I have the means, to go to Catholic school. Like if my kids could go to all boys and all girls school, 100%.
They would.
Once again, like if I have the means, because I'm realizing how expensive the world is as I'm growing up. But I absolutely know, like I don't want to go to just Christmas and Easter. I don't want to go every once in a while. Like I want my family to go a lot. And I think this image really came to me. It was junior year of high school. I went to every mass for the Easter Triduum. That's the only time I've ever done that. It's the only time I've ever been to Easter Vigil Mass. Only time I've been to Holy Thursday. Good Friday. Yeah. Okay, sorry. I get concerned sometimes I get the names wrong. But anyways, it's the only time I've been to all the masses. And it's been harder in college too, just because like we visited my grandparents past 2 years. And so if I wanted to, I would. So no excuses, actually. Disregard what I was about to say. But in that, like it was very wholesome. It was also cheesy, but like it was David and I who did it together. Not like with my family. So it was really important to me because I think that is something really special that we share is like faith. And we both have a lot of similar questions. So I also don't feel like inferior, which is bad that I'm insecure about it sometimes, but it's not like I feel like he's really great and then I'm bad at my faith or vice versa. So it's kind of nice that we're in similar boats and we can really talk about that. So it was really important for that relationship, but then also just in general, like seeing all the little kids, like little families, and I was like, I so want that. Or when I went to reconciliation a few weeks ago, like I think I told y'all, like I talked about not going to mass. The priest gave me the analogy of like, you have a treatment, you go once a week for this crazy disease. Like, why would you not go? You only have to go once a week for an hour to save this like disease that will literally kill you, or you could get this treatment and it'll give you new life. Like, why would you not go?
I love
like,
that analogy.
Or the other one, he was like, okay, so when you're older and your 8-year-old doesn't want to go to mass, what are you going to say? And I was like, we're obviously going to church on Sunday. What do you mean? And even though that's kind of silly, like that experience going to all the Triduum masses, I was like, when I get older, I want my kids to go every year. Like I want it to be a thing my family does. And it just like looking forward to the future has given me so much clarity because like I know that's what I want. And even though I have a lot of questions now, it's very odd because like I know how I want things to end up. And this right now is just a part of getting to that result, but I know that that's what I want. So
Wow, this is so cool. I love
yeah, I
it.
don't know. Like it's very interesting. I don't really know like how to think of it except kind of like if you're married. Like
Mhm.
if you're dating someone, you can like break up. But if you're
Mhm.
married, it's so much more work to break up because like
Yeah.
then it's like a whole thing and like it's just not the same. Like
Mhm.
it's not an option so much as if you're
Mhm.
dating, you can just be like, oh, I've been not feeling this for like 2 months. I'm just gonna skip out. Like I can just break up. Like that's just how it works. It's literally just what you do. And
Mhm.
so I feel like I'm more like married to the Catholic Church and like we might go through some rough periods,
Good.
but like in the long term, I'm really,
Mhm.
I'm here for the long haul. I don't really know. This analogy is going off the rails, but I think it makes sense. Like
I think it
it's
makes sense. Yeah.
so that Lenten experience since then, and especially this Lent, I've thought about it a lot and how much I know. Like, no matter what I'm feeling right now, it's like absolutely what I want in my future.
That is amazing. I'm so happy that you've been able to find that like this season. And I know, like, you talked about your struggles and feeling like you didn't do very much during Lent, but like the fact that you have such clarity about this right now, like, that was a good Lenten season, Ames.
Yeah,
That
but
was good.
this is what I'm saying. Like, I just went to reconciliation because I felt like I should because I'd missed mass, which is cheating, which we've already talked about. Okay. I'm like a broken record. But like the priest gave me that analogy and like
Advice you
really
wouldn't
made me
have
think about it.
gotten.
And then like all the other things that have happened, I'm like, I didn't really do anything. Like other people did it for me. But I also
Mhm.
like I'll give myself more credit. Like you were saying, like I put myself in the situation to
Yeah.
like receive that and I like opened my heart to receiving these new thoughts. So I guess I like didn't totally slack off, but
Mhm.
I didn't do too great. Just we're not gonna overhype. No
We
overhype.
all have, I won't overhype you because we both slacked. We both did, okay, y'all. I hope one day I have a Lent where it is great. But honestly, I don't think any of us will ever have a perfect Lent. There will always be something that you can do better. And literally, like, we have so many years ahead of us, but like every Lent, we're going to be like, oh, I should have done this, or I could have done this. And even if you say it was perfect, I'm sorry, but there was something else you could have done.
Absolutely. And that's like the best and worst part about it, you know?
Exactly. Because you feel kind of bad, but it motivates you to do better in the long run. Yeah. Mm. Lent is good. Lent is
Love
good.
Lent. Um, and last question,
Okay.
Lex. What message did you want to offer others through what you said and did this Lent to make it more meaningful?
Okay. What I would say is how individual of an experience I think Lent should be. Of course, I love that we have, parameters and guidelines, that help us to have a good Lenten season, but I don't think that it is one size fits all. Um, Literally, we say that all the time about anything in faith or life. Nothing is one size fits all. I cannot stress that enough. I think when we really sit down to think about it, in your heart what you should do or what God is calling you to do. Or honestly, the thing that you don't want to do or give up or add to your lifestyle is probably the thing that you should do. Because it's going to challenge you and it's going to push you. I don't think any of our Lenten promises or goals should be easy. I think, my aunt has said it to me before, and it's like really been sticking with me recently. Like, we have to die to ourselves every day. And like, that sounds awful, but
It's a
I
good
think it's
one.
kind of
It's a good one.
true. Yeah. And just like my last thing, what I said before, kind of a little bit. Like, yes, we're recording this on Wednesday. We may have one day of Lent left, but like, You can always turn it around. You can always start over, whether it's in the Lenten season or literally in the middle of the year. Like you said, Ains, like we definitely should have done like a middle of Lent reflection to
Keep
like
that in mind for next Lent.
Yeah, to wrap it back up. But it's never too late to start, or to start over, or just to tweak something. So, every day is a new opportunity for growth and just to reflect.
Yeah. That's huge. I think I'm leaving this Lent even feeling more strongly about the message I had coming into it about remembering what it's for. Because I definitely lost sight of that. And then it would come and go in waves, but I think moving forward, I need to do something that's blatantly faith related. Just and then obviously, hopefully, I'll get to a point fairly soon where I can have that self-discipline to not need something faith related to know that it's related to my faith. But I think it really is so easy to lose sight of who and what you're doing this all for. And I think too, I need to find a balance on like, choosing asceticism and, like taking up my cross, as well as like, I just really absolutely did not enjoy, this Lent, like what I had to give up. Ice cream honestly was not a big deal at all. Like ice cream was fine, but the meat, like I just didn't see a point. After a while, I was like, this is just kind of annoying. This is a huge pain. I can't order the food I want. I like feel so limited. This is so annoying. I don't even like all I'm eating, even more than before, which is definitely all I used to eat, but now it's even worse, is like bread and cheese. And so I think I need to like strike a balance if I were to do something like that again, between something that's difficult for me, but also something that's like practical, purposeful, and not something that I'm just going to totally just find so inconvenient and hate. So I don't know. There's definitely like a middle ground there, I think.
Yeah.
A sweet spot I'm going to try to hit where it's difficult, but not so just like annoying. Because this time I was like, oh, this is frustrating. And not in like a fruitful way. Not in like I'm glad, like I'm like doing this difficult thing. So I think that's definitely, it's a process. Like you learn each year. I definitely learned more from this Lent than before. And I think this reflection really helped me realize like what I did well, what I want to change, and like what I did poorly. So I think, I'm glad everyone else is doing this reflection too, because maybe it'll help you realize like what your Lent should be moving forward. Huge on the individual experience, and like not even as individualized, it's totally going to change for each person every year, like what you need, what season of life you're in, and all that.
Oh, totally. I'm so happy we did this episode. Like literally, I got so much from it.
Yeah, this is great.
I hope all of y'all, maybe if you didn't start to do the questions with us, maybe go back, watch it again, or do a little research, find your own where you can print it out, or do it on your own time and reflect. Well, thank you all for listening. We will see you next time.
Bye, everyone.